Hello there, welcome to episode 2 of the Way Back podcast. And today we are going to be speaking about pain and why pain is a hard puzzle to solve. So, I'd put it like this: we live in a strange era. We can put hair on a bald man's head, we can do a triple heart bypass surgery, we could make people see better with laser eye surgery, and yet sometimes we will walk into a physio or a practitioner or a coach and they will say, I don't quite know. Okay? And that can be a frustrating thing for many people. So today isn't about being hapless in the face of pain or not being able to fix anything. Okay? It's about more realistic expectations around the situation that are more reflective of reality and everything that we know about pain, a more evidence-based outlook on things, and also that you aren't harsh on yourself because there's been ups and downs. Okay, and that's what I'm going to try to give you today. So, to go back to the previous point, we can scan someone, we can test them, we can image them. Okay, we can look on MRIs, but even with all those things, it can be quite difficult to say, I know this is exactly why something is wrong. And that can be often very unsettling for people. And they will maybe take action based on a certain diagnosis and it still doesn't work. And the big concept about this is that pain isn't always a physical thing. You can't point at it and say, okay, this is like inherently what that is. We're led to believe it's a small little physical thing that we can target, but it's not. It's an aspect of consciousness. It's the ghost in the machine. It's sort of ethereal and not quite tangible and real, I suppose. And medicine's really good when it can see a problem. So broken bone, torn tissue, infection, medicine knows what to do. But when medicine can't, when I say medicine, I mean sort of modern clinical practices like physio and chiropractors and things like that. When medicine can't see something, pain is a bit harder to explain. Not because it isn't real, but because pain isn't physically only in the affected tissue. And this is problematic because we assume that we should be able to find the thing and fix it better, but pain in all its complexity doesn't always follow that rule book. And a brilliant example of this is elite athletes. So they will have the best doctors, physios, diagnostic tools, coaches, and they will often still bounce between practitioners. And there are some of incredibly talented people whose careers haven't quite made it the way they want to because of injury. And if the peak of physical performance can struggle with pain, then we should understand that it can happen to, regular Joes and Janes as well. So the frustration comes from what I would call an expectation mismatch. Okay, our expectation of reality is different to how reality is actually presenting to us. We expect our relationship with pain and how we figure it out to be simple and linear and mechanical. And when that doesn't work out, your body or your mind sort of perceives this delay as danger and something is wrong, and we amplify stress, and this amplification adds to and makes our physical suffering a little bit worse. If we are more stressed about our lack of recovery, that is going to create this sort of vicious cycle where our pain or our issue becomes worse. So a big reason for this is what's called the biopsychosocial model of pain. Now, I'm not going to get into it fully today because I did promise in episode 1 that these podcasts are going to be short, but it basically means that pain is influenced by biology, psychology, and environment, not just structure. So yes, physical tissues matter, how much load, how much work you're doing physically matters, but stress, sleep, beliefs, fear, past experiences, past injury history, and nervous system state all factor in. Okay, and you might look at that and think that's literally everything about me, and yeah, it is. That's how challenging and complex pain can be. So it's important to note that it's not a direct readout of damage in a specific area. It's more of an output of your nervous system. Okay, and modern science hasn't quite figured that out yet. So pain is like emergent. It arises from many systems interacting all at once. Okay, it's sort of like an ecosystem. So a good way to imagine it is like traffic congestion. Okay, so there's rarely one single car, okay, or group of cars causing the jam. It's the interaction of speed and volume and signals and timing and conditions that have maybe been happening 20 miles down the road in a different place, and they're all sort of at this sort of threshold or meeting point where the traffic is congested, in your case, where pain is being experienced. So what I'm trying to get to here is that if pain feels confusing or inconsistent or hard to pin down, that doesn't mean that you are broken. It means that you're a human living in a complex system. And you're also a human living in 2026, okay? And every generation thinks they're always the most advanced and ahead of the curve, okay? And while we are advanced in many areas, right now, modern medical science does not quite have all of the answers, okay? And that's just where you live. That's that's your lot. If you were born maybe 100 years from now, things might be different, but that's where you're at. 50, 60 years ago, the stuff people were saying about pain and movement was so incredibly outdated for the most part that it's hard to believe. So change is slow. So ultimately, the goal in this journey isn't about to find one thing to get rid of your pain or injury, but it's to create the conditions where your overall system feels safe enough to change. So pain is real. Okay, it's hard to pin down, but it is real. But healing is possible, and it's rarely an instant and simple thing, rarely just mechanical. And it's more like less a puzzle to solve, but more of a system to support. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that episode. Any questions on that, I would love to hear them. And that is episode 2, and I will see you all soon.